Hello, welcome back. And in our last video here at MTG Burgeoning, we took a look at a First Sliver EDH Commander deck tech. And in this follow-up video, we are going to take that exact deck and we are going to do some play testing with it right here on the channel. And just so that everyone is on the up and up, we're going to take our deck, we're going to shuffle this baby up. These are the exact 99 and general from the deck tech of the First Sliver. And we're going to give this a run and see if the smoothness and the power level and the way I was talking it up so much during the deck tech can be realized here in front of you right here on the channel. So let's take our deck. Let's shuffle this baby up. We got our First Sliver up there already. Alright, we'll take ourselves, grab a cut. We got our library. And of course, no Sliver deck tech or Sliver anything can be complete without a couple of these babies. That's right. Those are from the Vault Sliver dice. Oh, are they beauties. And that's our 40 life. And let's take our first 7 and let's see how we do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, here we go. Genesis Wave. Fetch. We got a Shifting Sliver. We got a Homing Sliver. Come on, more lands. More lands here. Sliver Hive is nice. Dregscape Sliver. And a Gemhide Sliver. Okay, so let's keep this and let's see what happens. Turn comes to us. We draw our first card, Demonic Tutor. We'll just slide that baby right here. We'll put a Sliver Hive into play. Alright, next card, turn 2, Stomping Ground. We'll throw... it's kind of early to put that baby out there. 3, 2, sure, let's pay the 2 life. And let's put our Gemhide Sliver out there so we can see what we can do. Okay, turn 3 comes to us. We draw a card. Cryptolithrite. I'll keep that one right there. We're going to put a Misty Rainforest right there, and to save all of the time from shuffling, I'll just pause it in between. And I think we got a red and a green. We got a lot of black in our hands, so why don't we go for a Watery Grave. So we're going to tap and sack that, put a Watery Grave into play tapped, and then we'll tap 2, and then we'll cast our Dregscape Sliver. So let's do that right now. Okay, and with the fetched Watery Grave right there, we'll shuffle up our deck. We did some shuffling while it was paused, but just to keep everything on the up and up, we'll do a quick couple shuffles and then a cut, just to make everything seem nice and legitimate. Card right there, or library right there. Cut. All right, and we paid 1 life for that fetch land. Still got our hand here, and turn comes back to us. We untap. We sure are hoping for a land here, but maybe we don't need one. We draw a Darkheart Sliver. And you know what? We're going to do it. Let's bring them out. Let's see what we can do. We're going to tap for one of every color. And this is, of course, assuming that we weren't interfered with. And we're going to cast our First Sliver. Now, with the cast trigger on the stack, the First Sliver does not give any slivers that we cast off of him Cascade. So we're going to cascade the First Sliver into Sliver Queen goes to the bottom. Reflecting Pool goes to the bottom. Godless Shrine to the bottom. And we'll put in a Predatory Sliver. These 3 cards will go right to the bottom. And that was turn 4. And we're looking pretty good so far. Alright, so we're going to untap with our little army we have here. We're looking at turn 5. Got our guys going right here. Okay. We got our hand and we draw. We draw an Arid Mesa. So we're going to grab that for land, of course. That would give us a total of 8. We want to cast our... Nah, let's do this. Let's sacrifice our Arid Mesa for 1. And then that'll bring us down to 36. And we'll pay 2 life to have our shock land come into play untapped. Which will grab a, let's see, let's just get a Sacred Foundry. All right, so we'll tap, sack that. Let's find our Sacred Foundry. There it is. Put that into play. Do a couple of quick shuffling right here. Let's put our graveyard there. And we're shuffling. And we have yet to even abuse any of our artifacts or enchantments that are built into this deck just for that purpose. So we're going to cut. So let's see. Let's take this for a ride here. Let's tap our 4 mana. Let's just see what happens. Let's throw out a Shifting Sliver, and let's just see what we can cascade into. We got our Shifting Sliver into, no. And whoops, into, oh, Silver Legion, no. Bloodstained Mire, no. Into Morphin, no. Into a Sentinel Sliver. All right, so that's going to help us. Gives our slivers Vigilance so we can attack and then still tap for mana after the attack phase. So that's pretty nice. Actually, that's a cascade trigger in itself right there with the Sentinel Sliver. So we're going to reveal cards until we get to, and there's our Enlightened Tutor. And this is what ends up happening, folks. The tutors are 1 and 2. There are no one casting slivers in this deck. So we're going to cast our Enlightened Tutor. And we are going right after an Allurin. I talked it up during the deck tech, how important Allurin is. So we're going to put it on top of our library after we shuffle up here. Let's take a moment to pause, shuffle, and reorder here. All right, so now that we have that a little more ordered, we'll shuffle this up. We are going to put the Allurin on top, because that's what we got with our Enlightened Tutor. This is turn 6 that we are on right now. There's our library. We've got 2 slivers that are over here sick. And we look to our hands, and we've got some Vigilant not being able to block by other slivers. So we're going to send those 4 up there, do some combat damage. And then I suppose we could I don't know, do we just pass the turn? Sure, let's just pass the turn. Let the opponents do whatever they have to do. Comes back to us. Whoa, 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 whoa. No need to flip the table or flip the camera. All right, so here we go. We're untapping. We're drawing our Allurin. Okay, so this is what's going to happen here. We are going to take our Sentinel Sliver. I'm going to tap him for mana. We are going to take our Predatory Sliver and do the exact same thing. And we are going to cast... Hang on. Let's back that up here for 1 second. We're going to use that for a green. Then we'll tap our mana here. 1, 2, 3. And we'll cast our Allurin. Now, for anyone who isn't familiar with Allurin, 2 and 2 green for an enchantment from Tempest, and any player may cast a creature card for total casting cost 3 or less whenever he or she could play an instant and without paying its mana cost. Alright, so our Allurin is in play. We got a couple slivers in our hands that we're going to need to be lucky here, but let's cast our Demonic Tutor. Let's not make it so much about luck. So let's cast our Demonic Tutor. We'll pay 1 and there to cast our Demonic Tutor. And let's search through our library of goodness to see exactly what we could bring in to help us. Let's see. Dormant Sliver. I don't know, maybe not. I'm pretty sure we know what we're... Oh, I think it's going to be the Cloudstone Curio. So let's just put that right there. We don't really need to look at any more cards because we pretty much know what we're going to do here. So we'll shuffle up our library. We'll give it a quick cut. Bring the Curio to our hand. And now we will tap our 3 slivers up there for 3 mana, casting a Cloudstone Curio. Now, this is where things start to become so wondrous. Are we ready here? Here we go. We're going to take our first sliver. We're going to, not the first sliver, our first sliver. We're going to cast the Homing Sliver with the Cascade trigger on the stack. We are going to reveal Path of Ancestry, no. Oh, that would have been a good one. Basil Sliver, no. Wing Sliver. So with Wing Sliver's Cascade trigger on the stack, we're going to reveal cards until we find a 1 casting cost card. And believe you me, they're in here. And there's our Mirri's Guile. Not the greatest one we could have gotten at this time, but it'll work. Shuffle these Cascade rejects, put them on the bottom of our library. All right, so with Mirri's Guile in play, we'll put that right there. So we cascaded into the Wing Sliver, cast that, the Wing Sliver comes into play. We will return to our hands the Dregscape Sliver. Homing Sliver comes into play. We will return to our hand our Sentinel Sliver. Those are both courtesy of the Cloudstone Curio. And I think we can see what's going to happen here. Because we've got the Allurin in play, we're going to then cast our Sentinel Sliver. The Cascade trigger will happen. We'll search our library for something that has a 1 mana cost, which is most likely going to be a tutor to help us out. A Swords to Plowshare. Okay, so not so much a tutor. So we Swords to Plowshare someone's creature. Not terrible. That's alright. Shuffle up our Cascade cards. Put them on the bottom. Sentinel Sliver comes into play. We return our Predatory Sliver to our hand. So then we're just going to keep doing this. We're going to cast our Darkheart Sliver with the Cascade trigger on the stack, looking for, or should I say cascading into Training Grounds. Training Grounds will go there. We'll take this stack, throw it on the bottom of our library. We are going to return the Homing Sliver to our hand, thanks to the Cloudstone Curio. Then, because of the Allurin, we're going to cast the Homing Sliver again with a 3 CMC Sliver. We're going to cascade into Assassin's Trophy something. The Homing Sliver comes into play. We'll bring back the Wing Sliver, and I think everyone can see where this is going. We're just going to keep, hopefully, uninterrupted. We're going to cycle through the entire process of getting those slivers until we can get maybe the Lava Belly Sliver. That will come into play to help wipe out the opponents. And then let's see, there's a couple other, the Hibernation Sliver, but that's unnecessary with the Cloudstone right there. We are looking for right there, the Cloud Shredder Sliver. Then that way, everyone eventually will come back to our hands, cast for free, except for the five casting cost, of course. They're going to have haste. They're going to have flying, and at some point in time, with the Gem Hide or the Mana Weft Sliver, in addition to potentially getting our, we don't even really need the Intruder Alarm at this instance, because we're just going to return slivers to our hands. We're just going to keep casting them. We're going to get the whole team out there, and the game is over. Unless there is some kind of interruption, the game is ours. And that is what the First Sliver deck tech is. That's what we're going to do. Admittedly, 7 turns in, I thought it would have happened a little sooner. So this might have been a little bit of an anomaly. But that's the joy of having some free time, because we're going to do this all over again. Okay, so here we are. Let's do it again. We're going to go another test run with this First Sliver Commander deck. Going to give the 99 a quick shuffle before we draw a hand of 7. And we're going to go through a simulation and see what we can do. We'll also go through some interactions with some of the cards in the deck that was presented during the deck tech, just to get a better feel as to what we're trying to accomplish here. All right, we're going to cut. That baby's going to stay on the bottom. Okay, get our deck right there. We can see that. Okay, let's draw our 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Play test the Sliver deck. Got some removal. Drowned Catacomb. Okay, Cloudstone Curio. There, it's a good. Oh, and we got the Demonic Tutor. Chew Lane. Come on, lands. Give us a couple more. Woodland Cemetery. Vampiric Tutor. Alright, alright. The land situation isn't great, but we're going to roll with this. Okay, here we go. Turn 1. Draw 1. Hallowed Fountain. We will put that into play. Tapped, of course. Okay, turn 2. Got that bad boy. We'll throw in Woodland Cemetery tapped. Okay, turn 3. We draw. Oh, Reflecting Pool. That's going to be nice. We'll put our Drowned Catacombs into play. I would be most tempted to cast the Curio right now, but it might be a little early. So let's just put out... let's put out our Mirror Entity. Why not? Little blocking. Okay. Draw on turn 4. We grab ourselves a nice little quick sliver. We'll put down our Reflecting Pool. Now if we can just draw that next land we need to cast the First Sliver, we're going to be in good shape. We'll wait till our end step, and then we'll flash in the quick sliver. Draw a card, Temple Guardian. I think that's going to do it, folks. We're going to put that into play. We're going to pay our 2 life for that to come into play untapped. That's going to give us our white, our blue, our black. Wait a second. White. Like this is where we're going to go. Put our hand down here. Make sure we get the right lands. So we're going to go, sure, we're going to go white, blue, black, red. Oh, we can't use that as the red. Oh, no. Oh, we paid 2 life for no reason. Okay, well, we'll tap 5 and we'll put Chulane out there then. See if we can't get some cast triggers. Oh, that was an oversight. All right, we're untapping. We're moving on to turn 6. Come on, don't let us down. Windswept Heath. Okay, we're going to pay the 1 life, do it on the 17, and then we're going to pay the 2 life to untap the Shockland that we're going to go fetch and put into play untapped. And that is going to be... We're going to go get ourselves a Blood Crypt. Nope, we can't get the Blood Crypt. I'm sorry, not the Blood Crypt, the Stomping Ground. We want the Stomping Ground, green and red. So I'm going to fetch that. I'm going to pause it so you don't have to waste too much time watching me do that. All right, we fetched out our stomping ground. It's right over there. We're going to put it in with the rest of our lands. First, let's shuffle this deck up. Okay. Oh, come on, come on. All right, let's try that again. Like I haven't shuffled 100 million times in my life. Watch our hand. Cut. Put it back. Okay. So let's add our stomping ground over here. We're going to move our reflecting pool, put that baby right there. All right, so we've got our 5 white. So we got our 5, one of each color minimally. All right, so we're going to tap this. We're going to tap it. We're going to cast our first sliver. With the cascade trigger on the stack, we are going to reveal a predatory sliver and put that baby into play. Predatory sliver comes into play, casting from the cascade trigger. We're going to get a chew lane trigger. We're going to draw a card. We're going to put a land into play. And then first sliver comes into play. We're going to draw a card. We're going to put another land into play. Now we are flush with some mana. Oh, baby, what do we do here now? Oh, let's see. We got many options. I think would be a good time to put the Curio out next turn. Let's see. Okay. So with what we've got going on, we're going to wait till end step. And then we are going to crack the Marsh Flats to grab ourselves a shock land that'll come into play. Tap this to preserve some life total. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, we got ourselves a Blood Crypt. We're going to shuffle this up. And I think what we're going to do is if we have a total of 9 lands, we are most definitely going to cast our Vampiric Tutor at end step with our reflecting pool. And with a nice little cut. Okay, so knowing that we have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lands and the Curio is going to cost us 3, we're going to need to... Let's not cast a Vampiric Tutor. Let's just have them pass the turn to us. So then we're going to untap. We're going to cast that Demonic Tutor. We'll draw a card, Dark Heart Sliver. That's nice for protection. We're going to take and we're going to cast our Demonic Tutor. So we'll tap for our 1 black and 1 white, leaving us with that mana. We'll cast our Demonic Tutor, and we are going to tutor up our Allurin. Going right after the Allurin. Okay. And there's our Allurin. We're going to bring that to our hand, and then we are going to cast that. And then we are going to cast the Cloudstone Curio, and then we are going to have all kinds of shenanigans take place under the hope that we are not interfered with. Now, I got to be honest, that's not always going to be a guarantee. However, when we have something out there that's going to allow us to draw cards and cast slivers for free and then bounce more slivers, if there isn't something that's going to interrupt us, we're going to win the game on this turn. And that is not an exaggeration, folks, and we're going to see exactly how that works. So we're going to get our mana here. We're going to go green, green, and then 2, it doesn't matter. Oh, we're not going to have... All right, so we're going to tap our 4. We're going to cast our Allurin. And there is our Allurin right there. And we are going to use the Allurin to cast the Darkheart Sliver. And with the Cascade trigger of the Darkheart Sliver on the stack, we're going to reveal something that costs it 1. Whoops. 1. Going through this. Oh, we're going to put a Mirri's Guile out there. Mirri's Guile, which does not really help us right now, but shuffle that up from the Cascade trigger, put that onto the bottom. Okay, that comes into play. Trigger for Chulane, which we will draw. I'm sorry, the Cascade trigger is what, I'm sorry, not the Cascade, the Cast trigger allows us to draw a card. And so we do. Okay. And we do not have the mana that we were hoping to draw to cast the Cloudstone Curio. So I misjudged on that. I should have casted the Vampiric Tutor at the end of the last turn in order to bring that card there. Yeah, that shows my skills as a Magic player, right? Okay. So then that would most likely be all for that turn. Well, that is unfortunate. Untap like it matters now, 2, 3, and we would most definitely want to put the Legion into our hand. Okay. This time, hopefully, we know how to do basic math. And we tap 1, 2, 3, and we cast our Cloudstone Curio. And we have our Curio in play with all kinds of goodies here. So we're going to tap our 5 mana. Actually, before we even do that, let's hold off on casting the Legion. And let's use the Allurin to cast the Homing Sliver. Okay, and whenever you cast a creature spell, we can draw a card, but we're going to do our Cascade. Actually, no, let's do the... Draw the card first because we could stack that. We'll draw the Dormant Sliver. No card to put into play. No land to put into play. So with the Cascade trigger in play, or with the Cascade, we'll put a Cryptolithrites into play. And now things are going to get pretty interesting because we're going to pull these guys forward because we know that they do not have Summoning Sickness. And the Homing Sliver does. Alright, Homing Sliver comes into play with the Cloudstone Curio. We are going to return a Sliver from our battlefield to our hand. And we are going to return the Mirror Entity to our hand. And then through the Allurin, we're going to cast the Mirror Entity. We're going to get our Cascade trigger. This time we're going to Cascade before we draw. Let's see what we have here. Land, 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 and we just put a Gemhide Sliver into play. All right, so that was the Cascade trigger. Then we cast a creature spell, so we will trigger Chulane. We will draw a card. We will put a land into play. We're actually going to pay 2 life for that, just in case. That'll bring us down to 32. And I think you see where we're going with this. And we're just going to keep doing that. We're going to keep bouncing slivers to and from with the Allurin and with the Cloudstone Curio until eventually we get one of our haste slivers, which will allow us to tap our slivers for mana. And at some point in time, we will be able to utilize our Vampiric Tutor to tutor up our Intruder Alarm, which will allow us to tap all of our creatures for mana, have them untap when a sliver comes into play, and then we're just going to continue to do that until pretty much the game is over. So it was a little sloppy with some bad math. It's always so much easier to just play the game than it is to play for an audience and a camera. At least it is for me. So that was another playtest. Let's do one more. Now, during the actual deck tech of this video, I was promising all kinds of power levels and having the game in hand by turn 5, sometimes even earlier than that. And well, we're a couple play tests in, and it has not been as smooth as I have made it out to be during that deck tech video. I do assure you, though, I have played with this deck many times, and many times it has operated just like that. Maybe it's having a little purple sleeve performance anxiety. I don't know. It might happen. Maybe it's the pilot. Maybe the pilot is having a little performance anxiety. Well, we're going to see what we're going to do. This will be the 3rd time that we're going to test this baby out. Let's see how we do. I mean, dream draw, we're looking for one of our mana generating slivers, a haste enabler, one of our engine pieces. That would be great. And then make sure we don't miss our land drops. And as you've noticed with the deck tech, I don't have any spells in here searching for lands, because I don't want those spells to clog up the sliver engine once everything gets put online. It's always so incapacitating that when you're right in the middle of trying to go off and put your entire sliver army into the battlefield, that everything gets disrupted by an explosive vegetation or rampant growth or something. So we just got to make sure that we can hit our drops each turn. All right, 7. Let's do this now. Oh, the Overlord. Oh, there's our haste enabler. Okay, a Blood Crypt, that's gonna work. Oh, we had a couple of big ones in our hand. A homing sliver. Land. Urgh. Oh, I don't feel great about this. This is one that I think we're gonna toss back in mulligan. So let's toss. We just take our free mulligan to see what would have happened. Ah, top card. Nah. All right, let's shuffle this baby up again. Alright, so we took our free mulligan, we shuffled it up, we're going to give it a couple more shuffles, and we're going to draw and keep the 7, and hopefully we get a better starting hand. Another thing you will notice from the deck tech is no mana rocks. I'm not looking again to clog the gears up with a mana rock. Yes, it would help us to accelerate the first sliver out there, but if they're not in our opening hand, or we don't draw them in the first couple turns, and they're, strewn throughout our deck, it's really going to cause some disruption for what I want this deck to truly do. So here we go again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Better draw this time. Here we go. Land, perfect. Lots of check lands. Oh, baby. Tap the brakes here a little bit. And, okay. All right, not terrible. We're going to keep. Let's see what we can do. All right, turn 1, draw a card. Oh, another fetch. Oh, baby. Well, we're definitely going to be able to have our lands. It's just going to be a matter of where's the support going to come from. Okay, well, we can put out a Death Toucher. So let's put out our Windswept Heath. We're going to tap, and we're going to sack that baby. We're going to pay life, and we're going to search for, this time we don't want to make sure we make any mistakes. Got the white, the blue, the black, the red, the green. Let's search for, let's get a breeding pool. We'll put that bad boy into play, and we'll pay 2 life to make sure it comes into play untapped. And then we will put our Venom Sliver out there. Offer us a little early game protection. Okay, so let's do all of that stuff off camera to save some time. And another reason, well, one of the primary reasons we sought out a breeding pool was that it would have helped to allow our 2 check lands in our hand to come into play untapped, giving us mana that we could use if we draw anything to cast. I believe there's a Drowned Catacomb and a Rootbound Crag in our hand, and they'll both, or each one will recognize the island and the forest respectfully, and it will come into play untapped. So the breeding pool was our best play right there, and plus we needed a green source to cast our Venom Sliver. Alright, so that was our turn 2. Our life is down to 37. Let's untap. Turn 3, we draw Steam Vents. So we got a Training Grounds in hand and a Light of Damery's Call. Alright, so let's just keep going with this. We'll just put that in play, and we'll just peacefully pass the turn, go to turn 4, we draw our card. We got a nice little Dregscape Sliver there. So let's put our blue, black, green. Okay, perfect. So we'll put our Steam Vents into play. We will not pay 2 life for that to come into play untapped. And, or for that to come into play, yeah, untapped. And let's put out, let's see, let's tap out, tap our 3. Let's put our Dregscape Sliver out there, and let's put our Training Grounds out there as a just in case. Because you never know what we might get off that first Sliver Cascade spell. Alright, turn 5, we're drawing our 5th land, and we got a Predatory Sliver in hand. So let us put our Rootbound Crag into play, and knowing that we got our white, our blue, our black, our red, and our green. So we've got 1 of each, so that worked out well. And let's just go right after it. Let's cast the first sliver, and let's see what we're going to do. First sliver comes in, Cascade trigger on the stack, and we get land. Oh, we get Intruder Alarm. Now, as I mentioned during the deck tech, the Intruder Alarm was inserted into this deck as a replacement for the Paradox engine once that was banned in Commander. So this could help us, this could hurt us. We got to be real careful about that. You got to really know where your other players are at the table if they're looking to abuse any tap abilities with their creatures. So we're going to pass the turn, and before we draw, we are absolutely going to grab, we're going to cast our Eladamri's Call, and we are going to bring it right to, actually no, we're going to draw. All right, let's see what happens. Let's pass the turn. Okay, so we got our 5 right there. We're going to pass the turn. Hopefully we're still good. Most likely we're not, but turn 6, Guardian Project. Oh, baby. Things are starting to come alive now. Okay. So what we really need is we need a mana generator for these slivers. So then let's do... Alright, so we're going to tap a white and a green. So we're going to go green and we're going to go white. And let's cast our Eladamri's Call. And let's bring a Manawef Sliver right to our hand. Okay, let's do this off camera to save some time. Okay, and we went Manawef Sliver over Gemhide Sliver just in case. I mean, it is a likely scenario. It's not impossible, but it's likely there may be another Sliver player at the table. We don't want to grant any mana abilities to their Slivers. And because of how the 2014 core Slivers were created, it was Sliver creatures you control and not all Slivers. They took away the Hive Mind, and that's why the Manawef is preferred over the Gemhide in this instance. Okay, we got our deck. We're going to cut that baby right in half. Okay, Manawef comes to our hand, and then Elamri's Call goes to the graveyard. And we still have a land to play for turn. Okay, now if this goes as I am expecting it to, we're going to tap green from our breeding pool. And what else do we want to make sure we have? Yeah, let's keep a blue open. Nope. Let's tap our Steam Vents instead. Keep a black as a just in case. Okay, and we're going to cast our Manawef Sliver. And we're going to have our cast trigger with the first sliver go off, of course. And we're going to exile cards so we get to a converted mana cost of 1. They're in here. There's a few of them. Ah, darn. Swords to Plowshare. Okay, so we'll Swords to Plowshare some opponent's creature. That's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. So we'll put these on the bottom in a random order as per the cascade. Okay, so we've got in our hand. All right, here we go. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to start to generate some mana here. So we are going to tap this for our blue. 2, 3, 4. We're going to cast our shifting sliver. And with the cascade trigger on the stack, we reveal a 5, we reveal a 5, we reveal a 3. So these go shuffle. They'll go under when we're, we better put them under now just to make it all straight here. With the Mirror Entity cascade trigger on the stack, we show a land, a 3, we show a, oh, this is going wonderfully, Crystalline Sliver. And then with that cascade trigger on the stack, we're going to show cards from the top of our library until we get 1. This is where we hope to hit one of our tutors, because there are no slivers that have a 1 mana cost in this deck, and that was purposely done so that when we get to this point, oh, Mary's Guile, okay. Well, sometimes you live by the cascade, sometimes you die by the cascade. All right, I'm going to shuffle that up. They go on to the bottom. Okay, let's sticks our area here a little bit. Now, here's where things start to get a little perverse. So we just cast 3 creatures, 3 slivers, which are going to give us 3 enter the battlefield triggers. So when the shifting sliver actually it's shifting first. So when the crystalline sliver enters the battlefield, we untap all creatures we control. And before the mirror entity enters the battlefield, we tap to add 3 mana. We can pick the colors. Mirror entity enters the battlefield. These 3 creatures untap. And before the shifting sliver enters the battlefield, we tap these 3 creatures for 3 more mana. Shifting sliver enters the battlefield. These creatures untap. Now we've got 6 mana floating in our mana pool. And with that 6 mana, I think we're going to tap our 3 slivers for 3 more mana, giving us a total of 9. We're going to use 2 to cast our predatory sliver. No, we won't. We will use, of the 9 that we have, we'll take 4 and we'll cast a Guardian Project. So whenever one of our guys come into play, we're drawing a card. So we got 7 left over. 2 we'll take to cast a predatory sliver. Untap these creatures. Leaves us with, let's see, 4, 2, 9 gives us, still working on 3 mana. And cascade trigger hits with the predatory sliver. We are revealing cards until we reveal an Enlightened Tutor. So we will cast the Enlightened Tutor. And I think you know where this is going, folks. We're going to cast that Enlightened Tutor. And we are going to find our Cloudstone Curio. And the Cloudstone Curio is going to enter the battlefield before the predatory sliver does. And you can all see where this is going. And if this is left unchecked, this is most likely going to be the game. We still got a land in our hand. So the Cloudstone Curio enters the battlefield first because it cascaded last. Then the predatory sliver enters the battlefield. A couple of triggers here happening with the Guardian Project, which we will draw a card showing a land. Cloudstone Curio will bounce a creature to our hand, which we're going to bounce back. Let's see, you got to remember our mana. We had 4, we had 2, 6, we have 3 mana in our mana pool and 3 untapped creatures. So we are just going to bring back the shifting sliver to our hand. And with the mana that we have left over, because we had 3, tap this, tap that for 3 more for a total of 6. We're going to cast the shifting sliver. We're going to untap these 3 creatures. We're going to still have mana, 2 mana in our mana pool. We got our cascade trigger on the shifting sliver, which if it works as well as it did last time, we're going to be in good shape. 5, and we'll cast an Assassin's Trophy and blow something up. So the Assassin's Trophy, that's cast. The Shifting Sliver comes into play. We draw a card from the Guardian Project, showing another land. And when the Shifting Sliver comes into play, we have the Cloudstone Curio, which will bring the Mirror Entity. And what we're going to keep doing is we're just going to keep tapping those 3 creatures up there, generating additional mana. We're going to keep casting creatures. We're going to keep returning creatures to our hand until we get... Well, it's not until we get, and it's just going to be once we get a Lava Belly Sliver in play, that's going to help whittle everyone down. And in addition to the Lava Belly, what we're really looking for is one of our Haste Slivers. What are they hanging out here together? Our Cloud Shredder. And we're just going to keep going back and forth with the 4 mana cost and the 3 mana cost. And it'll only be a matter of time until we are able to get the haste creatures, the haste slivers out there. Because once we have one of the haste slivers in play, then all of the creatures that are coming into play, we're going to tap and we're going to keep mana. Mana's going to continue to collect in our pool. Creatures are going to continue to untap when a guy comes into play. And if we get a creature like the Lava Belly Sliver into play, where whenever a creature comes into play, it's dealing a point to a target player, and we're gaining a life. We keep generating these mana. This mana, we keep drawing cards from the Guardian Project. It's only going to be a matter of time until we get some of our bigger creatures out in play, such as the Sliver Legion. And with haste, the game is over. We get the Sliver Overlord, and then we're just tutoring up slivers right to our hand. The Sliver Queen, and we're going to have just, you get the Sliver Queen out there. Every time you're tapping mana, you're generating more mana. You're going to go infinite with your slivers, and you're just going to win the game. It's just, that is the first sliver. That is, hopefully, you were able, everyone was able to, I was able to explain that well enough for everybody to follow. That is my First Sliver EDH Commander deck. What do you think? Okay, so thank you for sitting through and, looking at the mechanics of my First Sliver EDH deck. And the last thing I want to go through is just a couple of interactions and how I place such an importance on a couple of cards in this deck to really push the engine through. And what we're going to do is we're going to highlight the interactions and the importance of the Allurin and the Cloudstone Curio. These are really, for me, in my opinion, 2 of the most vital pieces of this entire Sliver deck in such a way that it could be better than than having to completely rely on the first sliver. That cascade trigger is nice. However, if we are able to utilize the Allurin in addition to the Cloudstone Curio with any number of these draw card spells, the Dormant Sliver, the Guardian Project, the Beast Whisperer, Chulane, Vanquisher's Banner, Kindred Discovery, and to a lesser extent, the Temur Ascendancy. So with this crop of cards, in combination with the Allurin and the Cloudstone Curio, we are going to cast a number of slivers for free with a converted mana cost 3 or less. And when one comes into play, we're going to return another one to our hand. And whether they're entering the battlefield or they're being cast, because as we separate these cards out, we have 4 cards that allow us to draw a card when a sliver is going to come into play, and 3 that's going to allow us to draw a card when we cast a sliver. So any combination of these cards are going to net us more cards, and it's only going to be a matter of time until we have all of our minimally, and this is just minimally, so we have all of our slivers that are 3 converted mana cost or less. And there is a specific reason why I have the Hibernation Sliver on top, because that can enable life, life and health depending. Having the Hibernation Sliver in play can act as a Cloudstone Curio enabler. It'll cost you 2 life each time you do it, but you're still able to get a sliver back into your hand, hopefully utilizing one of the cast triggers, or if we're lucky enough to have this bad boy in play, utilize one of the Cascade triggers from the First Sliver. Then they enter the battlefield, and we're drawing a card from one of these. I mean, it's unstoppable. And well, I really shouldn't say unstoppable. I'm overplaying the fact that we are not always going to do this uninterrupted. I mean, this is definitely a build that once your opponents know what's happening, or if you play with a regular meta group, they're going to target you quickly, and this is not going to be as easy to accomplish. It's definitely possible, and don't get me wrong, I've done it many times, but really what we're looking at, this is our core. This is what we're looking to do. We're looking to get the Alluring in play. We're looking to have some kind of draw card spells that help us replenish our hand as we're casting free slivers, and we're going through our deck, and just with these 3 mana cost slivers or less, we can take out an entire board. And that is pretty much all I want to spend. That is my, First Sliver Commander deck. Thank you for the time. I appreciate you sitting through this and listening to my voice for as long as you've had. Kudos to you. That's a job well done. This is MTG Burgeoning. You will go forth and you will enjoy this day.